Good morning to everyone tuning in. Welcome to all the 2020 graduates, their friends and family, IUSM faculty and staff, and for the very first time for commencement ceremonies everywhere, welcome to our furry friends who may be joining us today. This is a great honor to speak on behalf of my fellow graduates and represent our wonderful research community. Although it seems unfair to accept accolades without expressing gratitude to each and every individual who made this possible. Let me begin by thanking them. We owe our success to our lab mates who become family after a point. Sometimes we spend holidays and even birthdays with them. We owe a huge debt of gratitude to our research admin staff, the unsung heroes, who have made sure every qualifying exam, every committee meeting, and every seminar goes on smoothly. To the IUSM faculty who keep open-door policies and give us endless feedback and edits to every documents we throw their way. We all got by with a little help from our friends. Being a full-time research student is not easy. Failed experiments become a natural part of your life. Sometimes we are left heartbroken because it means abandoning months of preparation and long hours for our experiments. Other times, you just shrug your shoulders, put on those lab coats, and do it all over again. We face different obstacles as PhD candidates. Some have different outcomes compared to each other. Some might get multiple papers published, while others might just do some science outreach. But I think all research graduates, regardless of their journey, have one thing in common, and that's resilience. They never fail to show up, even after multiple rejections, criticism, and failed experiments. All our progress in research, from the first images of the black hole to the recent COVID-19 case trackers, they've all been made possible because of resilient graduate students. 6 years ago, as I sat in my room in my parents' apartment, in the suburbs of Bombay, I was applying to grad school programs in the US. I oftentimes wondered if I would even hear back from any of these schools. From my vantage point, it seemed unreal and highly ambitious to get accepted by an American university on a PhD fellowship. So speaking to all of you today as a graduate definitely feels surreal. Many of my peers back home and in other countries weren't as fortunate though. Not because they weren't talented. Some faced gender discrimination, others financial hardships to even make a decent grad school application. Today, I want to dedicate all my achievements to those deserving students who didn't get this opportunity. While we may lack resources, we do not lack talent. I think I speak for international graduate students everywhere that when we landed in this country with our acceptance letters, we landed with a dream to become part of the scientific dogma and to make our families proud. Since the time I landed, I faced absurd questions. Someone wanted to know why I didn't have 2 R's and 2 T's and 3 I's in my name. Another asked me why I spoke English so well. Some were downright hilarious, from what my favorite curry was to how I had even heard of Elton John. I realized early on the importance of communication when I had to frequently explain everyone that my life didn't adhere to the cultural stereotypes about my country. Indeed, I was raised in a patriarchal society that never cared for women's opinion, let alone allow them to speak. And for that reason, today, it feels like I'm breaking yet another stereotype. As I progressed through my early PhD, I realized even though we've been advancing at a significant pace, science communication often gets overlooked. From anti-vax movements to climate change deniers, from flat earth conspiracy theorists to spiritual gurus twisting scientific facts in my own home country, science communication still has a long way to go. I learned the importance of storytelling through science communication. Standing next to my poster at a conference and showing off my research findings all I wanted was fine. But until I found a way to connect with my audience, I was never going to leave them impressed. It was through the art of communicating science that I realized what a scientist and the audience have in common is emotion. To build on empathy is the greatest tools as scientists, let's not forget. I was taught a simple principle in my courses: make your scene partner look good. I could have gone on about my thesis research about eye diseases, but I think what one might come away remembering from those moments would be the stories I shared behind those research findings. We are all experts in our respective fields, and it is incumbent upon us to make our audiences feel equal and empowered and not inferior through the use of big, confusing, and technical words. This brings me to an important question that remains at the center of my scientific philosophy. What is the responsibility of a scientist to the general public? Shouldn't we be keen, if not excited, to let others in on our science, which is made possible in part by taxpayer funding? If you think about it, communicating science advocates for the betterment of the whole society. If the public is well informed, they make more informed choices, elect better informed government representatives, which in turn leads to more funding for scientists that can then be used to give better pay to our working staff, so on and so forth. If this doesn't make practicing good science communication more appealing to researchers, then perhaps you might consider engaging with the public for the benefit of research funding. So if I can leave you all with one challenge today, that would be, how are you, as a science and a health professional, going to bridge the gap between science and the public as a communicator? I was fortunate enough to meet such talented communicators right here at IU. Perhaps you could consider that next time you give a talk, or you could support a local nonprofit in science outreach. With that, I thank you all for your attention. Let's hope we all make it safe and sound through this, and congratulations, class of 2020.